muted. Sorry, I was muted. Hello, everyone. How you doing today? This is Efwa with Social Impact Consulting. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. Hope all is well. And hashtag choose to challenge. Hashtag choose to challenge. So I'm very excited about having each and every one of you joining me. If you're joining me, please just let me know where you're hailing from. If you're joining me, please like and share. Let me know where you're hailing from. You know, I'm very, very excited about this lineup that we have. I know there are a bunch of lineups today just commemorating International Women's Day and ways that women can be empowered and ways that women can really hashtag choose to challenge the status quo. So I'm very excited about this. So if you are here, please let me know where you are hailing from. Let me know where you're hailing from. If you're hailing from Nigeria, if you're hailing from any part of the world, just let us know where you are hailing from. And we're just gonna start having conversations, and we take it from there. So let us know, give us a shout out, if you let me know where you're hailing from, I will give you a shout out as I look at your chat. Please like and share, would really appreciate that, so that more people can see this, so more people can see this and really reflect on how you will be empowering women moving forward. Thank you so much. So we have a great, powerful women that are in the lineup today to just discuss on on what they had to go through, in terms of moving forward as women in leadership, as women in power. So I'm very excited. I have an educator, a parent coach, especially focused on the girl child, which is Irene Bangwell. Hello, Temi from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much, Temi from Lagos, Nigeria. So we have Irene Bangwell. She is the co-founder with her husband, Kingsley Bangwell, of KNOSK Schools, a school in Abuja that provides high quality education at 100 naira per day. And she's also a parent coach. I'm very excited about her profile. She's really been able to do some awesome work with KNOSK Schools, and I actually follow her channel. On social media, on Facebook, which is working to parent the girl child. So let me just read her bio right quick. Irene Bangwell is an educator, a parenting coach, a mom, and a wife. Like I said before, she and her husband Kingsley are the co-founders of KNOSK, 100 Naira a Day School in Kuje, Abuja. As a parent coach, like I said before, she's raising girls, and she provides parents with the tools, strategy, and resources to raise strong, smart, and confident girls. She's also the creator of Body Smart Girl Bundle, a Bible sex education tool for girls. And she's the host of the Parenting Champions community with Irene Bangwell on Facebook and Telegram. She is also an author and has authored 4 highly resourceful parenting tools. She's also a mother of 2 leading girls who love God, art, science, and want to solve global problems. Along with her husband, they host Family Street radio show Abuja Kiss in Kiss FM 99.9 every Sunday at 7 p.m. It fosters wholesome and happily family ties. Now, this is really awesome because I actually interviewed Irene and her husband, Kingsley. If you visit the hashtag Dev Sector series, you will find it. Okay. I also have in the lineup Grace Jerry. She is the executive director of Inclusive Friends Association. and she is a Mandela Fellow, and she is a gospel artist. I mean, her bio is quite extensive. So I'm just going to read a quick summary of it. Okay. So Grace Alache Jerry is a human rights slash disability advocate, peace promoter, a recording artist, and a strong gender advocate with a special interest in democracy and ending violence against women and girls with disabilities. She is working to create an inclusive world where everyone counts. Within the last few years, Grace has brought freshness to advocacy efforts in Nigeria through her unique blend of passion and music, bringing prominence to the important roles of persons with disabilities in national development. She is the founder, like I said, and executive director of Inclusive Friends Association, a Mandela Washington Fellow of the Young African Leaders Initiative, the 2015 cohort. She is the first ever Miss Wheelchair Nigeria Queen 2011-2012 and a former official spokesperson on disability in water, sanitation, and hygiene WASH in Nigeria. She is just, I mean, she has such an extensive profile. Inclusive Friends Association was also the first, they were able to lead the first disability only audit in Edo and Ondo states. And when during gubernatorial elections, they do a disability audit with INEC to make sure that the polling units are disability accessible. I mean, Grace, I mean, her profile is pretty extensive as well. And I wanted her to come and just discuss as an advocate for women with disabilities, and her spirit and her energy honestly is magnetic. My final speaker is Olanike Timipa. I mean, I met this phenomenal young lady back in 2017. With her husband, Uge. I mean, Timipa-Uge. I mean, they are just a phenomenal couple. And she had always wanted to really be an advocate for women from the moment I met her. I was working, I mean, I do a lot of teaching and training. And in one of my seminars, she was like, can I come and volunteer? And she came, had her baby strapped, and was getting in all the information, and she was helping me, with the logistics of the event. She's an amazing, amazing young lady. So I'm just going to read her bio, okay? Olanike Timipa-Uge is the executive director of Teenage Network, a nonprofit that facilitates access to quality education and health for adolescent girls in Nigeria. She currently serves as the Global Youth Ambassador with Their World UK, a member of UNESCO Youth as researchers on COVID-19, a member United Nations Girls Education Initiative Transformer Society, and a member of International Honor Society for Nurses. She's a girls' rights advocate, passionate about providing comprehensive sexuality education for adolescent girls, developing their leadership and advocacy skills while providing medical and psychological support for adolescent survivors of gender-based violence. So I am going to welcome all four. It looks like Grace has stepped away from the stream. Hello, Irene, are you there? Irene, and Nike, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay. Hello, ladies.
Yes.
Hello, ladies. So everyone,
Good
happy International
morning.
Women's Day.
Yeah. We choose to challenge. Happy
Yes,
International Women's Day.
hashtag choose to
Mhm.
challenge. So we're going to be waiting on Grace.
Yes.
I know that the network is fluctuating this morning, so please work with us this morning on the network. I'm seeing Ken P.O.K. here. It says here, Efa Elens Ede, it is International Day for Women. I congratulate you and every woman today. Kudos also to you on your series of web conferences. Thank you so much. And then I see somebody, it's a LinkedIn user. Hi, Efa, congratulations to all women from Ireland. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, Grace is over here, so we're going to add her. Hello, everyone. Hello. So, so thank you so much for accepting my last minute invitation to come and
It's
really
okay.
share with everyone on, pretty much your perspective on how women should hashtag choose to challenge. With Irene as an educator, as a parent coach, and then Grace as a development practitioner and an advocate for persons with disabilities. Nike as a young, vibrant lady who is actually just really blazing the trail in the development sector, especially for women and girls. So thank you all so much. Now, like I said, everyone, the network keeps fluctuating. As you're watching this, please like and share so that as many people as possible can see this, because we're commemorating the International Women's Day. So that is really an awesome thing to do. So I'm going to start with you, Irene. Like, how did you come into your own as a woman and as an educator? When did that time come, and when did that shift come? I'm just led to ask this question because I feel like it will come from the heart, because that's kind of your journey at this point. So when did you come into your own?
All right, I like to take it all the way back to university days.
Okay.
Good morning, FY. Happy International Women's Day.
Morning.
It's
Happy
an honor to be
International
out
Women's Day
here.
to you.
It's an honor
Thank
to be out
you.
here with the most remarkable women that I know, some of the most remarkable women I know.
Thank
Grace Jerry,
you.
I'm her fan to the core.
Mhm.
And of course,
Yeah.
there's Olanike that just inspires us and brings a lot of hope for the younger women.
Honestly.
Phenomenal. Her energy is
Hmm.
contagious, all right? So
Honestly.
how did I get into this? I think it was my university days. I came across two books that shaped my life. One
Hmm.
of it was written, the title of the book is The Journey from Success to Significance. And then a
Hmm.
book on purpose, understanding the purpose and something of the power and purpose of a woman by Dr. Miles Monroe. And
Hmm.
so I'd read this book, and both books totally shaped my perspective about life. I mean, I grew up in a house where there were mostly teachers, mostly civil servants. So there was just that thing about get to school, get a job, and then retire. And then I came across these books that were saying life could be more. And it was just empowering for me. And so that's when I began the journey to finding me. Um, on January 28th, 2008, I stepped into the first school where I wanted to work with teachers to improve communication, learning design, so that learning could be something children look forward to so we could tap into their gift. So for me, that's the clear event that, helped me get into this space of life can be more. Two books, The Journey from Success to Significance. I don't quite
Hmm.
remember the author. And then the second book, Dr. Miles Monroe's Understanding the Power and Purpose of a Woman. So those two books for me were the turning point of my life. I must have been
Hmm.
in third year at the time in the university.
Hmm. Okay. So okay, that's really remarkable. So um with that being said, I'm gonna just follow up. So a lot has happened between the university days and now.
Of
So
course.
it's like I feel like that those books, from Success to Significance and the Purpose and the Power of the Woman, are pretty much were the seeds. So
Yes.
when did everything grow into a tree?
Um, Crazy. So we started venturing. 2008, we
Hmm.
started venturing,
Hmm.
making mad mistakes, learning on course,
Hmm.
and then the self-doubt come. Your inner
Hmm.
critic has a higher volume than you would like it to, and you
Hmm.
struggle. And then you come to a point where you discover that, man, this is everybody's story, including the successful people, meaning that your struggles, you're not the exception. This is the norm. It means you're even on course. That's why the challenges are coming. That's why you're realizing the mistakes. So, from that moment, I started Hands and Minds, started working in schools, started designing tools. And by 2016, I had a reorientation. I had a waking and a rude awakening. To I was trying to solve a problem, but I didn't know how enormous it was. I didn't know the sensitive angle to it. And then by 2016, I realized it was time to venture and start a social enterprise in education where children from low-income families could access quality premium education at 100 naira a day. So, but by this time, I am more crazier than when I first started, and I'm more at peace. And the inner critic in my head has the volume has been reduced significantly because sometimes you can't turn it off completely, but I've really reduced that voice to say, "Get out of here! Everybody's dealing with this." And then, so that's it. That's what it's been for me. But I've
Okay.
evolved with stepping out and venturing and learning on the causes that I put my heart to, and so that's
Okay.
what it's been for me.
Okay. Okay. That is really amazing. So I'm just gonna segue
Yeah.
to Grace for a bit. Are you there, Grace? Grace?
I'm
Hi,
here.
Grace. Hi.
Hi, 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 hi.
So,
Hello.
hello. So, Grace, so can you just give us some insight on kind of how your journey started in terms of working, uh, working in the development work? Like, how did it start? You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I do. So let me
Yeah.
also take a cue from Irene and to wish every amazing woman here an international Women's Day. And of course, we choose to challenge. We raise our hands to speak,
Mm,
to challenges and to also address, the status quo. So, Irene, I
yes.
celebrate you. You are one amazing woman. I love, love, love. Of course,
Mm,
FY, you are a magician. You are a powerhouse. You're a battle
thank
axe.
you.
And of course,
Thank you.
Adenike, she's not with us this morning. I think
Mm,
she's still trying to connect, but Adenike is
yes, she
just an
is.
amazing woman doing amazing things. So let me
Definitely.
start by saying, um, sometimes we venture into life not even knowing what, exactly what path, we're going to end up on. And then life
Mm-hmm.
happens to us. And while it's happening, is refocusing us and redirecting us, to
Yes.
fall onto that path of purpose. And I think for me, that's my story. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, growing up, I couldn't really say what exactly I wanted to become, but I knew
Mm-hmm.
somewhere at the corner of my heart I wanted to be a journalist. And basically just to keep reporting on issues. And I think the most fascinating thing for me growing up as a child was just standing behind that camera and holding the microphone. And one of the women who stood up for me back then during the network news was Tokumbo Ajayi. I always mention her name. I never forget that woman, Tokumbo Ajayi. And I'm like, when I grow up, I want to be like Tokumbo Ajayi. I want to sit behind this desk. I want to tell the news, blah, blah, blah. But of course, when I got into university, I when I got into university, the only available course I could read, or rather that was given, was law. And
Yeah.
the question I asked myself was that, okay, do I even want to be a lawyer? And
Mm,
still at that point, I still didn't know what I wanted to do with my life
I
until I
see.
was involved in a road traffic accident. And that kind of disrupted plans, activities, because I couldn't go back to school for like 2, 3 years at stretch. I was going in and out of the hospital. And eventually, I went back to write my final exam, and that was it. But
Mm,
because of the challenges with health, I was involved in a road traffic accident in 2002, sustained spinal injury, and was more like, that challenge forced me, to be at home, be in that particular environment that was more accessible for me. Other than my home, nowhere else
mhm.
was that accessible and comfortable, for
I see.
someone who has started living her life on a wheelchair. So that was why I
Mm,
couldn't even go back to school for like 2, 3 years. And eventually I went back, finished, and I was just at home. But then, whenever I have the opportunity to speak either to like few groups of people, friends who come to visit, I would always advocate on, the challenges that people with disabilities face,
I
not
see.
even knowing or not even being conscious of, this is the path that my life would eventually take as an advocate and as a spokesperson for this community of, of people. So, and then of course I'm a recording artist, I'm a gospel artist. One of the second environment I was able to integrate myself into comfortably was the church, because my pastor quickly modified the environment and I could go to church. And whenever, the microphone is handed to me to either sing, I would quickly advocate for accessibility and types of environment. I would speak to attitudes of people towards, people with disabilities, using my life and my experience, but also creating awareness around the disability community. And that went on till in 2010, I contested for the Miss Wheelchair pageant that provided me with a bigger platform to speak up for then 22.5 million Nigerians with disabilities. That was in
Wow.
2010. Yeah, and I began my reign as the Miss Wheelchair Queen, going around the country, meeting with legislators, meeting, with key stakeholders, pushing for the implementation of the Disability Act, like it should become a law in Nigeria, and also basically celebrating the achievements of people with disabilities, but most importantly, talking about how barriers can be removed, every form of stereotype can be dismantled, such that people with disabilities can lead a normal and an active life, being part of the development effort in our dear country. And from
Okay.
there, it translated into IFA, Inclusive Friends Association, and that's what I'm doing till date. So my
That
path,
that that is
brought me back
amazing.
to speaking for people with disabilities.
That is amazing. I
Yeah,
that is really amazing that you went from just being a victim of circumstances to actually being
yeah,
being victorious and being an advocate, because
exactly.
just being a woman, it's a challenge in it of itself, then being a woman with disability. So how were you able to transition from that, um the the shock of what happened to you, to now going into advocacy and advocating for persons with disability? How did that transition happen?
Okay, so it wasn't a funny ride at all. Having
Mm,
to, I was just at the prime of my life. I was 22 when this happened, and I was just becoming a young girl, discovering myself and all of that. And then boom, it happened to me. And I had never had an encounter with a person with disability, so like I had no idea what a life of a person with disability feels or looks like. So it was quite challenging because at first I couldn't even, I was in denial, like I couldn't accept the reality of what was happening to me. First, I couldn't use my feet. I lost sensation, lost mobility completely. And then secondly, I had to learn to use the wheelchair, having to navigate my environment. It was crazy. And I remember I was so depressed, I couldn't even function. I was so depressed, I couldn't function. But then it took the intervention of family and friends, a few friends, because I lost a couple of friends too. That period, of course, we couldn't hang out like before. So a
mm,
couple of them left, but few stayed back. And family, they stood by me, they kept supporting. But then I also, had to make up my mind. I chose to speak to my inner self and ask myself,
mm,
well, am I going to allow the
mm.
circumstances, the challenges define life for me, or I was going to define life for myself? And that was the breaking point for me. I
That
had
is
to break
amazing.
out of depression. I broke out of the challenges. I broke out of whatever limitation. And here I am today, you know.
That is really amazing. I'm going to really talk about family, in terms of the support system that you got, and segue to Irene as a parent coach, in terms of
Yeah.
how, because as a girl child, I believe that there was really some empowerment from the core of your family unit to transition you out. And then so I would then have that conversation with Irene, where she will come in and talk about how you empower the girl child. This is really amazing, Grace. I Kudos to you, kudos to your family and friends that provided you that support system that you needed to choose to challenge. I'm just gonna segue to some of, give a few shout outs here. I see, there's a LinkedIn user. It says, congratulations on International Women's Day. Keep up the great work from Ireland. Then we have, Amarachi Isoboye Afanya. Good to be here. Thank you. Then another person, what's a powerful transformative journey from Grace Jerry? Kudos to you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, Grace, if you're still here, we're still talking. Maybe the network went in, but I'm going to talk to Irene. Hello. So
Yep.
I'm sure you must have heard Grace's story in terms
Yeah.
of the support she got from family and friends to really bring her out to become the woman she is today. And felt like this was just a great segue to you as a parent coach of the girl child. So I want to ask you, so what I'm going to ask you a few things. What prompted you to be a parenting coach, especially to the girl child? And how do you think parents parents of girl children should prepare their girls for life as we know it, to now hashtag choose to challenge and become the women they are today?
All right. So thank you so much for that question. That's a very loaded question. So I'm going to start out by sharing what my own journey was when I first started. You remember I said I read books, and these books were saying, look, life can be more. And don't forget that I'm growing up in a home where
Mhm,
everyone is a civil
mhm,
servant, one with the other. Not that being a
mhm,
civil servant is bad, but there
mhm,
wasn't any conversation about entrepreneurship, venturing out,
mhm,
passion, interest,
mhm,
not even talking about solving
mhm,
problems until
mhm,
I started reading those books, right? But by
mhm,
the time I started my journey, two things I had to deal with was accepting that
mhm,
I was capable of doing great things,
mhm,
accepting that I was capable of doing great things, accepting that I was enough, accepting that I was beautiful enough, confident enough, accepting that I was intelligent enough to be able to design solutions that people will want to be a
mhm,
part of. So, because you grow up hearing two things: get a job, get married, get a job, get
mhm,
married, get a job, get married. So, by the time I stepped into the world of entrepreneurship and had to deal with my fair share of challenges, especially challenges that had to do with my person, my
mhm,
identity, my self perception, all of this brought me to a place where I realized that so many more girls in Africa are capable of doing so much more. But the conditioning says you get a job that is manageable, not ambitious, not too ambitious, so that you can be married. And the conditioning also says just have children, just be married and have children. Unfortunately, this conditioning affects both boys and girls. So you have boys being raised to feel that something is wrong with a woman trying to be ambitious.
mhm,
They don't know where it comes from, but it's just there in their head. Yeah, I want her to be great, but to a limit. She's intelligent, but I want to see her rise through the ranks in civil service, not like go and venture and start up a big company. So I realized that there was a problem with the way girls were being raised. And then on May 1st, 2011, I gave birth to my first girl. I mean, I remember that day very well. I had a surgery, and the doctor looks at me and says, Irene, you have a girl. And what came to my mind that evening was,
mhm,
whoo, I get the chance to raise a girl in the way girls were intended to. So I started my journey with my girls saying, girls, I'm going to show you what it means to live outside of stereotypes, outside of limitations. And by the time my daughters are 3, my first daughter was 3, we're talking about emotional intelligence, listening to your inner critic and shutting the voice up. Yes, she was 3 years old one day when her mood snapped. And I said, baby girl, we're going to track your thoughts because your thoughts made you feel that way. And so I said, what did your thoughts say? And she goes, I said, all right, when you think like that, you can talk about it. And sometimes you could be thinking wrong. So mommy can give you clearer perspective. And so we started from there. And by the time they're 5, I now by the time she was 5, I had 2 of them now. The second one was 3, the first was 5. And they would do something in the house and say, Mommy, what do you think? Did you think I did it well? And I would say, what do you think? Do you think you did it well? How is this thing supposed to be done? Girl, you're going to be the person that brings the indicators into your life. I'm not going to raise a girl that is waiting for the world to validate them because I have been at that place where I'm doing great stuff, but I need someone to say I'm doing well in order for me to move forward. And in my mind, I'm saying I want to raise girls that don't know that reality. At the same time, I also want to raise girls who are not anti boys. I want to raise girls who realize that all human beings on earth have a purpose. All human beings need partnerships to become whatever they want to be. They need the friendship of boys and girls in school. They need it at church. They need it at work. So as I'm speaking to you, to a large extent, my daughters are not aware of any form of inequality. They are not like, I remember the first time my daughter came back home one day and said, Mommy, there's a boy in my class. He wants to lead. Why do boys always like to lead? And I say, it's because you let them. You let them want to lead. I said, let me tell you, when you're trying to make a leadership decision in class, always look for the person who can get the job done. It doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl. Look for the person who can get the job done. And one time, my first daughter came home and said a boy was stirring up her artwork because my girls love art, they love science. I've not seen that combination before, which makes me think is even stereotypes and a pattern of parenting that makes children choose either or. Because with my girls, I've seen that they're interested in the sciences to learn how life works, but they're also interested in art. And so my daughter comes and said, there's this boy that keeps stirring up her artwork. She said, do you want to come and talk to him? I said, no, darling, I don't do that. So you're going to go back to school and tell him. I said, she asked, what am I going to tell him? I said, why is it a problem for you? She said, because her artwork is important to her and she's talking to the teachers and they're not responding. I said, so then you go back to school and tell him that your artwork is important to you and he shouldn't rip it apart again, and tell him not to touch your bag again. And so she goes back and said, well, Mommy, that was easy. I told him and it never happened again. So I'm at that place where I have two daughters. I love the way they think. They're not perfect, definitely, because this journey is not about raising perfect children, but raising equipped children. And so things are happening. I like their response. I like the way they think. I mean, I was going through an accelerator one time. It was a lot of pressure. It was taking time out of my parenting. And my 7-year-old, when I told her, you know what, this program is coming to an end soon. And she said, why is it ending? Weren't you taking the course for a reason? And she's 7. And I'm blown away by that kind of thinking. And so I told myself, you know what? You're not okay with raising only your girls, thinking like this. Why don't you get into the world and support parents raising girls to say, look, come together. Let's raise girls without stereotypes. Let's raise girls who are limitless. You know, as a Christian, when I started this journey, I had to come face to face with the belief I've always had that maybe God just wanted us to be housewives. And the revelation God is giving to me was, how come I put this gift inside of you? How come I put these ideas inside of you? How come I put this talent and capacity inside of you? And God helped me see that every human on earth has an innate desire to fulfill purpose. Now, it is unfair to get up one day and tell one person who is brimming with excitement to live life to say, no, that's not for you. So it is my goal to work with parents of girls to say, look, there is a way to raise girls that are limitless. There's a way to raise girls to think the way God wants them to. And, you know, for me, that's why I started the 10/10 girl hashtag on Facebook and Instagram. When you raise a girl and tell her your entire existence is so that you can be married, that's a 1/10 girl.
Exactly.
Yeah. Less than her life is. So you see, she was born for more. Marriage is a part of life, but life is more than marriage. And you want to equip your daughter for all the seasons of life, for financial intelligence, for fulfilling their purpose, for their faith life, yes, for the marriage and all of that. So that is what set me on the journey to working with other parents to say, you know what, we can be that generation that breaks the limits for girls. By starting,
I love this. I love this.
So, and then if you have the privilege to be raising boys side by side with girls, it means you now have the opportunity to turn around to your boys and say, good boys, we missed it. There is a better way. Because when brothers see their sister aspire, it allows them know that the woman in their life ought to aspire as well and give her permission.
Yes.
You know that kind of thing. So that's why when people come on and say things like, oh, you're trying to raise girls versus boys, I say you have the wrong dial. Because when you reshape the way you're raising your daughters, you've sent the memo to your sons that girls are equally human beings like they are. And for me, that's what wakes me up every day. When I say I'm a parenting coach that works on raising girls, this is what it's all about.
Thank you so much for that summary. That was really something. And it just, for me, as you're talking as a parenting coach, I'm reminded of my father. My father is has been a he for she advocate before even the he for she even started. He was always, my daughter, you can do anything. He said, don't you ever let anybody tell you what you cannot do. He just would inspire me to do more. So it's like when I think of International Women's Day, I also think of my dad. I also think about all the he for she advocates all around the world that are empowering women, that are empowering daughters, sisters, cousins, wives. It's when you empower someone like that and empower a woman like that, it is awesome. There's this celebrity journalist here in Nigeria that says that her husband is the wind beneath her wings. So I'm just gonna segue to folks here who have come to watch us. I see here it says, what a powerful journey, from Grace Jerry. Kudos to you. Then Oludare Olorunfemi from Ireland talked about Grace Jerry as well. And then I see a PhD here, Akogun Emmanuel Oladipo. Hi, Effa Ellens Ede. Congratulations. This is interesting. Support this. Thank you so much. It looks like Nike is back on air. I really want to segue to her because what Irene was talking about in terms of that marriage is just 1/10. And I just want to segue to Nika because she inspires me as well, which is why I keep contacting her, because it's like, I had a training a couple of years ago. She was like, "Hey, I would like to volunteer." And she came with her little angel strapped up on her chest. And she was like, "Look, this is part of my life. I'm married. I have a child. But that is part of my life. I'm going to really fulfill my destiny, take the knowledge I need." And in fact, she is just lifting off because I see her heading to the top in no time. And I just want to have her speak to encourage young women to say, look, you are limitless no matter what. So I want to just have her. I'm going to add her onto the stream. Um, Irene, hang tight, don't move. We're gonna take on questions and comments from the crowd. Hey guys, please stay, like and share, like and share, like and share, and hang tight. If you have any questions for our panelists, please hang in there. Put your questions on the comments. They will be happy to answer your questions. Hello, Nika. How's it going? How you doing? Thank you for being able
Hi,
to log on. I
Efwa.
know network has been a bit epileptic. Hello. So
Good morning.
I just want to morning. So I just want to segue to you, and then I think I'm gonna ask my second question before I ask my first. So, like, as a young wife and a young mother, how did you balance everything with your desire to change the world? Because, like, this platform, for me, my reason for starting it is to talk about advocates like yourself who wants to change the world. So how were you able to balance everything and say, hey, I know I'm young, but I know who I am, I know my purpose? Let's take it away.
All right, thank you very much for having me. And once again, I would like to apologize for not being able to join in on time. So, like
No, no problem.
Irene said, fortunately for me, Irene is one of my mentors in this development sector. And like she said, marriage is just an aspect of our lives. And looking at the African continent, looking back at the cultural barriers, that women have been conditioned, like what defines you is your marriage, right? But before we got married, we've been existing. We've always had this passion, within us. There are issues of concern to us. There are problems we are passionate about, solving. And marriage should not, be a barrier to that. Rather, it should be, something that it should be an addition, not something that will change, our perspective or our direction in life totally. So, talking about how I've been able to, combine the role of being a wife, a young mother, and still functioning in the development sector. I think the major challenge with this has been, you having an individual having to play different roles at different times, and sometimes you even have to play different roles at the same time, right? You have deadlines to meet, and yet you have toddlers, to attend to, or you're probably pregnant, going through all of those series of hormonal changes and all of that. But one of those things that helped me as an individual is I was determined not to have role conflict. So I was conscious of, okay, so I want to be a mother, I want to be a wife. At the same time, I have a goal, I have a passion, I have an organization to run. So when all of this comes to the table, I have a deadline, then I have to draw my scale of priority, and being able to achieve a balance in this particular time does not mean one has to place one sector above the other at every time. It means being able to decide which is more important at this particular time. For instance, if I have a deadline for tomorrow, or I have a meeting for 10 a.m., then I have to know how to arrange myself to ensure that at that time, when I'm supposed to probably be at a table, to talk about issues that concern that concerns my career, I'm not, at the same time, that is not the time I'm taking care of my baby, right? So it's quite difficult, it's ethic, and I think one of those things is being able to grow outside of those that particular corner that the society has sometimes put the women into. Like, okay, the society has an idea of what a woman should look like, how a woman should act, what she should wear or what she should be concerned about. So as professionals, being able to come out of that already preconceived ideas, like, you don't have to wear a shoe that doesn't fit you. If it is not your taste, if it is not your style, then there is no point forcing yourself to fit into that. So I think understanding this, and being able to set priority right is a key thing for balancing, being a wife, being a mother, and being a professional at the same time.
That is really, really something. In terms of what you said about balancing all the priorities, you get what I'm saying, and being an individual fulfilling different roles. It looks like Grace is on her way to another meeting. So if you still have any questions, she'll be happy to address them in the comment section. So I'll take your questions to her. She'll be happy to answer them. So just on that segue. So I feel like you talked about being an individual, just playing different roles, because being married is one aspect of your life, which is really remarkable, Niket, that you've been able to really balance that. Not everybody can do that. Usually when I hear stories of young women, hey, I got married when I was 7 and I've not been able to walk and I'm stuck, and and you really took the bull by the horn that is not your story. So tell me, how did Teenage Network come about?
Okay, so I experienced low self-esteem all through my 6 years at the boarding house, as an adolescent, and that was a thing for me, and it's in a way impacted my academics, badly. And so
Mm,
after graduation, I was able to find my feet. And then when I started practicing, as a nurse, and I realized that, we had lots of, or a larger percentage of patients who come into the hospital, on the basis of suicidal attempts, are adolescent girls. So
oh wow.
I understand where they are coming from. I understand, what the issues are. And then I was able to engage them even beyond my duty, as a nurse. And the more I engage with them, the more I realize that, there are a lot of gaps, that needs to be filled for us to
Mm,
be able to address this issue. And so
mm,
when I started a yearly summit, right?
mhm,
I
mhm,
started a yearly summit,
mm,
working with adolescent girls to, help them develop their self-esteem and all of that. But the more
mm,
I engaged with them, the more I see that this requires, more effort a lot more has to be done, in this regard. So beyond, so I realized that the yearly summit was not doing enough. So I had to, put in more effort. And then, in 2019, I decided, what, I need to really, really, really dive into this. So I resigned my job and then, moved into the development sector fully as the executive director of Teenage Network, because looking at it, 11% of Nigerian population are adolescent girls, which is an estimate of 22 million, right? And the root cause of all of this is the gap in our education system. Girls they experience, situational low self-esteem because they experience gender-based violence. They don't have adequate information about their sexual and reproductive health, right? They don't know how to manage, all of these. Some have they are victims of teenage pregnancy, and because of that, they attempt suicide. A lot of them do not have, their leadership capacity. They've not been able to build it. There are no structures, to help individual adolescents within our school system to develop the skills that are needed to handle the day-to-day challenges. So I decided, okay, so this is what I want to do. How can I come in? And, taking up the role as the executive director of Teenage Network, I've been, trying to work on that, complementing classroom lessons with comprehensive sexuality education, organizing programs, creating platforms for adolescents to develop, their leadership skills, gain mastery of themselves, be able to understand and identify themselves, know how to the basic strategies to adopt in solving problems. And beyond that, I've been in my own way being able to, advocate for girls' rights. So this is what I've been doing. So these are the major things that really, really, really informed, starting Teenage Network. Adolescent girls in Nigeria really, really need that, that attention. We can't look away from them. They are too numerous to be ignored, and they are vulnerable because they do not have, this basic understanding, and they are dependent. So they are a vulnerable group of people that have been ignored, or whose rights have been, violated over a long time.
That is really something, and it starts from there to for them growing up to become women and feeling like they are less than. Honestly, this is a personal story. I wish an organization like yours was in existence when I was an adolescent, when I was young. When I was young, I had the low self-esteem, the low self-worth, low self-efficacy, and I was a victim of intense bullying at that time. So it does affect a woman psychologically, and it affects her into evolving. It just takes, and some women end up going into the fringes, and they don't end up realizing their potential as a result of being exploited. So it's like, for you doing having an organization like that is extremely remarkable. So I'm going to add everybody to the stream, and we're just going to summarize right quick on uh, uh, what men and boys, the men who love us, what do they need to continue to do to make women thrive and become the best version of themselves. I'm going to start with Grace Jerry, since she's going to be leaving in a second. I think I removed somebody. Okay, add to stream. Okay, so everybody's here. So Grace, are you there, or are you on your way to your meeting? Okay,
I'm here. I'm here.
okay,
Although it's going to
okay,
be a bit noisy because I'm just driving
okay.
into National Assembly
Okay,
now.
you're driving in. Okay, okay.
Yes.
Let me just have you on mute then, onto your in your
Okay,
quiet
you can
place.
mute me for now and
Okay,
bring me.
okay, okay. So so I guess I'll start with Irene. What do you feel like the men who love us as women need to do to become the better version of ourselves? So I'm gonna start with you, Irene. Are you there? I can't hear
This
you.
is a very good place. Yes, I am. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you now.
Okay, so I think this is a conversation. This is a conversation we need to have. So I actually have just two things on my head. Number one is that first and foremost, the men in our lives, whether they are brothers, spouses, fathers, they need to review what the ideas that they have about what being a woman is. That's where they need to start from. Husbands, male teachers, every man out there watching us, they need to sit down and actually redefine and review what they think their idea of what a woman is, what they've come to believe over time. So for me, that's the first place, because my discovery that all human beings, regardless of gender, have an innate desire to fulfill purpose means that if the man understands his own need to fulfill purpose, then he can imagine that his wife, his sister, his daughter will have that same need. What that means is that coming up with ideas and cultures that stifle her, because you would not like it to be done to your own, to yourself, it would give you a better understanding of women's reality. The second thing we need to do is we need men to start doing is redefine their roles in parenting. You see, now when we come to that place where we realize that the man is saying, I have this gift inside of me, I want to express it. My wife must have gift inside of her that she wants to express. Then should I really say, I don't know how you're going to do it, oh, but the children are your responsibility? Would that be a thoughtful thing to do? Or are there ways we can redesign parenting so that everybody is fulfilled? I mean, something that my husband did for me in 2014 that changed my perception and value for him was when, number one, he challenged me. He was hosting an event in Dubai, and I told him to get me and the children tickets to come. And he said he would not do it, that he would buy tickets for his kids, but if I wanted to come, I needed to pay for myself. And his reason was that, girl, I'm going to Dubai to host an event. You have the capacity to host an event in Dubai, and let that event bring you. And that was how I designed the education innovation. Yes, girl, that was how I designed the most daring project of my life, Education Innovation Dialogue, hosted in Dubai with educators from 5 states in Nigeria and some schools in Dubai. I hosted that event. That event paid my ticket to be there. I designed a tool that was launched on that event called the Education Innovation Map that had 102 ideas about how schools can redesign in order for their environment to be more empowering to children. Now, my husband pushed me to do that, but he didn't stop there. There was an event going on in Doha, the World Innovation Summit on Education. And I went to him and said, look, I want to attend this event. I don't have registration fee. And my husband says, who tells you you attend only on registration fee? So write to them and make a case that you want to come. So I've written, they've accepted for me to come as per free registration, but I'm going to be responsible for my accommodation and ticketing. And then it hits me that my second child is a year and 2 months old. And I go to my husband and say, how am I going to cope with the kids? He said, no, you're going to go ahead to Doha and you will meet with us in Dubai. I will bring the girls for you. And I traveled for 4 or 5 days in advance and got to Doha. The first day he got to the airport, he forgot their passport, so they missed their flight. He went back and the second day, he remembered to go with their passport, and they arrived. And he looked at me and said, man, it's not easy to be a woman. I mean, you could not have forgotten their passport, but I did. He appreciated the fact that what women do was a lot. But here's what I'm saying. When you begin to look at your partner with the perspective that they have dreams in their heart, then you can reframe parenting. You can redesign because you realize that if your wife is stifled, then I have a bitter woman I'm coming back home to. So
exactly.
That's it. How can we review our perception of what who a woman is and what she's created for? Then how can we redefine what parenting means, since both of us now have dreams and all? And let me end by saying, and we need our partners and all the men, whether they are colleagues or anything, to come into work with the mindset that the woman sitting across you is dealing with this much. Not that you should be patronizing, but not that you should, we're not asking for men to bring down standards for us. But we want to see policies in workplaces that are sensitive. I've had a staff who gave birth in December, and she thought that taking maternity leave will mean not having salary. And I said, God forbid. I can employ a pregnant woman because I realize that she's doing the most powerful thing in the world, giving life to another person. So I'm not going to use corporate policies to discriminate her while she's going through that process. So for me, these are the top 3 things. Review what you think a woman's role is,
Mhm.
reshape what parenting with her means, and redesign what it means to work with her in the corporate space.
That is really, thank you so much for that. I'm going to just segue to one comment. I think he's left right now, but I really like this. He says, I have great girls that compete very well amongst boys. My daughters have been emerging leaders in the university as their group project leaders. There are boys in the group, but every time they are in the group, they always ask for my daughters to lead their group. She still spoke about it yesterday with me. I can ask her to speak at your platform. Both of my daughters are twins, and I'm proud of them. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That is a girl dad right there.
Yes, yes.
Amazing, amazing. So I'm going to segue to Nike. Hello. So Nike, are you there? So if you can just talk to us, what you feel like young development and practitioners like yourself need from men, the men that love us, whether it be our fathers, our spouses, our relatives, and our co-workers, what we need from them to make women thrive.
Okay, so I think the first thing is for the men in our life to understand that the gender equality movement is not a movement to say, men, you've had your time. Now is the time for
At
you to take the
all.
back seat,
Yes.
right? So it's not as if we want to remove them from the stage, right? We're only saying, let's have a fair play. Let's have, an opportunity for everyone, right? Growing up, we're used to hearing, behind every successful man there is a woman. But what we are saying is, can we alternate, this role, so that when you have a program, or when you have, an activity that is important to your career, I take the back seat, take care of the family. And when it's my turn, you take the back seat, and allow me to, pursue my own career. That's a win-win situation, right? And when we have a win-win situation, everyone is happy. And when everyone is
Yes.
happy, the home is happy as well, right? And the
Yes, yes,
second
yes,
thing
yes,
is
yes.
that the men have to understand that you cannot raise a 10-10 girl with a 2/10 wife, right? So if you
Mhm.
want your girl or your daughter to yeah, so
That's poetry right there.
Yes,
so if you
yes,
want
yes,
you if
yes,
you
yes.
want your daughter to live up to potential, be the next Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala that everyone is proud of, then your wife should be
Yes,
able to be the role model to that child, right? So that's the second
Exactly.
point that we must understand. And then the third point, which is probably my last point on this, concerning this issue, is everyone, including men, must stop, looking at people on the basis of their gender, right? I've had to be on, platforms, and, people would, say, okay, the men should speak first, and then the women are just, they are just there. And I've had, situations where myself and my spouse would, probably go out, and then, they'll be like, why is she the one speaking, and not you,
Okay. Sorry,
right? And
sorry,
so
Nike.
so
Nike, I don't mean to interrupt you, but Grace is getting ready to go into a meeting. So let me add her
okay.
into the screen and then have her talk. Hello, Grace. I know you are getting ready
Yeah,
to go.
Efwa?
So let me just
Yes, I'm about
Grace,
to
I know.
step in now, so
Okay.
let me
So
just
let me let
round
me
up
let
with
me
us.
just have you let me have you speak right quick on what we need from men who love us, especially as a woman with disability. So you will be talking on twofold in terms of how the men really help to empower women with disability as they come to be the best version of themselves. So just want you to say that bit before you head into your meeting. Hello? Ah, network. Hello? It looks like her network is a bit. Hello? Hello? Okay. It looks like the network is pretty bad on. Hello, Grace. I don't know if you heard my question. Okay.
Can you hear me?
I can I can hear you. The noise, there's a bit of noise, but we can hear you.
Yes, I'm in a very busy place. I'm in front of the
Okay,
National Assembly right now. You
okay,
have to bear with
okay,
me right
okay, 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 okay. It looks like she's really tied up. Okay, so that was a really good review. But Nike, let me allow you finish. Are you there? Let me allow you finish. I
Yeah, so
interrupted
I
you
was
because I thought she was
saying
getting ready
that.
to go in.
All right. Okay, so I was saying that we should start, looking at everyone based on their strengths, based on their potentials, based on what they have to offer, right? Regardless of what the sex, what the gender is. I mean, we must prioritize that. I can't do the same job, that the man does, and then because I'm a lady, then you think you can pay me less. I
Yeah,
can't, be on the same platform, have the same qualification with the same guys, and then you decide to offer the men the job because you think I'm a woman and I have probably some other factors that could hinder me from delivering. So these three things, I think our men should be, if they are able to do it, it's going to be a win-win situation for everyone. And believe me, when women have the equal access to opportunities to develop themselves, we have a better nation, right? Everyone is celebrating Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, right? If it's a man in that position, I'm not sure if the person would do any better. So it's time for us to stop ignoring the women. We can't even ignore the women because we are too numerous to be ignored, right? And
yes,
we have the more potentials than to be ignored. So any nation that ignores, or any man or any organization that ignores the potential of women is definitely depriving itself of great results.
exactly. Thank you so much. That was really really a good way to even see how we can just summarize. It's really amazing in terms of, because we women, we are here to stay. You get what I'm saying? And the adversity of being sidelined for centuries just empowered us to want to do more and want to
Yeah.
some of us even overcompensate, so that that's why when you see a woman prime minister, when you see a female minister, you see that she does 10 times better. It's because of some of the adversity and us saying, hey, I'm qualified. Hey, I'm qualified. Okay, I need to do more to show that I'm qualified. I've been through issues where even in the US, where the same job, I got paid less than my predecessor. I mean, it was clear as day. So sometimes you have to try to overcome some of that adversity to now become who you are today. So this was really remarkable. Nike was really able to talk about how she was able to balance everything as a young wife and as a young mother, and even the organization she started, even using the profession she chose as a nurse, talking about, hey, I identified, you know, issues with teenage girls, and I decided to do something about it. Usually, being a development practitioner, it comes from passion. So she started Teenage Network. And then Irene just talking about being an educator, and then her husband Kingsley, who is my brother from another mother, who who really is a he for she and a girl dad, and was able to really empower you to really become who you are today and become the best version of yourself. And even, I mean, I saw you did a post on Facebook about your husband, and I almost went into tears. I said, oh my God, it's like I saw him on a whole different light the moment I saw that post. I'm like, oh my God, this man is amazing. So it's just really becoming, and then really saying, okay, I'm going to coach women. You taught me some things today about emotional intelligence, because and we'll talk about this offline. My first son is an HSP. He's highly sensitive. So I'm like, what am I going to do with this kid? He's so sensitive. So just trying to now navigate that and make sure that he feels good about himself. So it's
Yeah.
just, so I really learned a lot about emotional intelligence from you today, and I hope the entire platform learned that from you as well. So I'm very excited. I really pray that that you have that everybody has learned from this. I've even seen somebody, Oludare, here. He says, to further spread this fantastic message, I have shared this webinar on my LinkedIn page. Yay! The society needs to support the girl child in order to bring out the best in her. So thank you all so much for attending this live broadcast. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Niket. Thank you, Grace. I know you're watching from wherever you are. Thank you so much. I'm really, really grateful you all for attending. You all take care, okay? I'm gonna round up
Have
here.
a super day. Thank
Take
you.
care. Take care. Take care. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending this live broadcast. Like I said, my name is Efwa Ede. I am the head of social impact consulting. We're a development consultancy firm that looks to maximize social impact. We do that by providing project support, training, advisory, coaching for development practitioners and nonprofits and social enterprises. So if you need any support, you can send me a message. Thank you all so much for attending, and you know, see you soon. Take care.